right. Good morning from Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to have a great time today. My name is Stephen. We're going to have a wonderful podcast today. We're talking about three things. We're talking about bulletproofing your belief. We're talking about changing habitual habits. And we're also talking about controlling your focus today. So grab your honest tea, get ready, because we're about to dive in. So here we go. Love that song. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of things. First thing is bulletproofing your belief system. Your belief system is very important that you understand what your belief system is. Your belief system is really how you're wired. It's how you're built. And so as we talk about today, belief systems, one of the things that I want you to kind of think about is your belief system will always navigate you back home. Understand what that means. When I say your belief system will always navigate you back home, it will always take you back to default. So your belief system is default mode, all right? And so default mode is core of who you are, how you see yourself, how you believe certain things. One of the things that you'll understand is that your belief system confronts you each morning you wake up. So every morning you wake up, what you are confronted with is your belief system. So when you're waking up, what you feel instantaneously when you wake up is, once again, it's your belief system. It is the construct in which your mind works. It's the construct in which you believe. So your bulletproofing your belief system is very important as we talk about a couple of things, but it's very important to understand what your belief system does for you and how it kind of operates. One of the things that we look at is if you don't like what you believe about yourself, or if you don't like what you believe or how you think about others, or if you don't like your job or whatever your view is on God, when you wake up each morning or when you wake up each day, it could be a morning. It could grieve you, right? So if you kind of think about what I'm saying, it's like you think a certain way about people. You think a certain way about yourself. Okay, you think a certain way about God, you think a certain way about your job. So there's a lot of things that as soon as you wake up, that's in the forefront of your day. Your belief system meets you every morning when you wake up. It's in the forefront of your day. And we're talking about bulletproofing that a little bit. And here's the thing that I'll say is that there's a difference between wanting to believe and believing. And a lot of times people say, I believe, but really the reality is that they want to believe. Once you believe, remember that belief will actually change you. So once you do have true belief, belief actually changes you. It changes the construct of your belief system when you actually do believe. And so what many of us do is we would like to believe. There was a man in the Bible who says this to Jesus. He says, help my unbelief. He's like, I want to believe, but help my unbelief. So there's a difference between wanting to believe and actually believing. Most people confuse the two, and they believe that they believe when in fact they just want to believe, right? They're just wishing and hoping they want to believe. But once belief is formed, it produces something in your life. Never forget that. Your belief system is something that could bring you into a place of joy or a place of despair. And as you think about that, your belief system is when you wake up, what do you feel? Do you feel despair? Do you feel like, oh my goodness, I got to go to work. I got to get all this done. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel despair? Or do you feel joy? And this is all based on your belief system, okay? And how your belief system, how you are wired internally, right? So here's something to do. Number 2 is this right here, is that you must sit down and challenge your belief system in order to change. So if we're going to actually change the core belief system, how we believe internally, how we believe about God, how we believe about our life, how we believe and think about other people, whatever that might be, we're going to have to sit down and challenge a couple of things about ourselves. And this is kind of important. The reason that we need to challenge that is because a lot of times we have these sort of bad ideas that are kind of rumbling through. They're kind of the things that we would never probably say out loud, but we might think it internally. Stuff like this, like the reason why nothing ever works out for me is because there's something wrong with me, or God is cursing me, or God doesn't like me as much as he likes someone else. And so you believe that the reason why things don't go your way or work your way is because something's wrong with you. Well, you believe that because that's a part of your belief system. You understand that? That's your belief system, and you're greeted with that every morning. When you're waking up every day, you're greeted with the concept of, once again, God doesn't like me. Nothing really works out for me. Another thing is, why do we care so much about what other people think? This is a very big topic. Most people in the world, they care a lot about what other people think. And I want to talk a little bit about that because your belief system does something for you in this area as well. When we say that we do not care about what the people think about us, what people think about us, it is because those people who think certain ways about you, they don't value you anyway, so you just don't care about those people. So to make a statement, I don't care what people think about me, really is a statement saying that I don't care about the people that think about me this way. And that's really what it means. And let me help you out. That's healthy to an extent. To say that, you know what, I don't care what this group of people think about me because I'm living my life in this way. But everybody cares about what people think about them, and that's healthy for you. Let me just say it this way. If you didn't care what people thought about you, then imagine being on your job and no one liked you. And you might say, well, I don't care if anybody likes me. Well, what if, because no one likes you, you got fired? So every job you got, you just got fired. You wouldn't be able to stay employed. You wouldn't be able to do anything in your life if no one liked you or if you did not care what other people thought about you. So here's what it is. What we do is we cater to the biggest group in our life or the closest group to our life. So who's the closest group to our life? We might not care what certain people think about us because they're not in our group, but we're hanging out in another group, then we care what that group cares about us. So then we'll behave according to that group. You understand what I'm saying? So everyone has this construct kind of in them. It's a wiring of the belief system. We say with our mouth, I don't care what people think about me. But the reality is if you didn't care what people think about you, you'd have no friends. What if everyone hated you? Everyone thought you were garbage. It would bother you. You'd be depressed. So when you say that statement, I don't care what other people think about me, what you're really saying is I don't care about those people. And that's healthy to a degree because you can't worry about what everybody thinks about you, and especially when people are not in pursuit of your better self, you becoming a better person, you living a better life. And when you have people that are haters or critics or whatever, naysayers or whatever however you want to look at it, it is good to go ahead and lump them in and say, well, you don't care about me, I don't care about you, and it's healthy. This is how I'm going to continue to go on. I'm going to move. But even Jesus had people who cared about him. Jesus didn't come into the world and be like, I don't care what people think about me. There was a community that supported him. He had disciples. He sent out 70. But what if nobody followed him? That would be a problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? So to an extent, this is one of the things that most of us wrestle with. And I think that psychology sort of teaches us that we shouldn't care what other people think about us. But the reality is yes, you should care and you shouldn't care. So it's both, right? It's dual. It's a double-edged sword. You should care what people think about you, but you should also not care what certain people think about you. And you have to balance those groups. Are you with me? And here's another thing that we'll understand with your belief system. Every person on the planet has a top ambition. I want you to hear me. The top ambition is a need to stay consistent with how you define yourself. This is everyone's top ambition, that you will stay consistent, right? You have a need to stay consistent with the way that you define yourself. Once again, this is a construct of your belief system. How do you define yourself? Because if you define yourself a certain way, there are certain places that you'll go, there are certain places you won't go. In fact, when you define yourself a certain way, you may watch other people circle, but never go to those circles, which means people may watch this podcast, but they would never come and attend a live broadcast because they'll support it secretly, but not outwardly. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I talk about that, it's because I can't be associated with those people. Even though I might like what that guy is saying, and I might turn it on and listen to it secretly, I can't go back into the room. I can't be back into the room because I can't let other people, because I care what people think about me. Depending on what your in group is or your out group is, you care, so I can't be associated with that. So in a way, we'll watch from afar, but we'll never support. But here's the thing that I want you to understand. The closer you get to living out your true self, the happier you will be. The problem with most people are that they are fake, and they're not living out their true self, and the circles that they're in will not allow them to live out their true self. the concept is you want to live close as possible to who you truly are. And this is really a very important thing, because a lot of us, we will say one thing in public, do another thing in private. All of this is belief system. All of this is about your belief system. I want to talk a little bit about how do you begin to develop a new belief system. What if you say, you know what, my belief system hasn't been working for me. It's kept me miserable. It's kept me depressed. It's kept me anxious. When I wake up, I don't even feel good about myself. I need to change my belief system. So if that's you, this next part is very important, because your belief system it can be developed into a whole new construct, a whole new thing, right? And so one of the things that we'll talk about, first of all, your belief system is already bulletproof, right? Your belief system is already bulletproof. The key is now it's even bulletproof from you. It's so bulletproof that you can't sometimes penetrate it and change it. Are you with me? That's why a lot of times when you are with people or around people, you could tell them something good. You're an alcoholic. I'll help you get into rehab. You really need to change your life, but they never will do that. Why? Their belief system is bulletproof. No, I'm not an alcoholic. You know, I'm just sad right now, and the only reason why I'm drinking is because she made me mad. It's all these different things. Your belief system is bulletproof. That means it's very difficult to penetrate it. You will probably have a very difficult time penetrating it. The one thing that I will say is that you may not be able to change the people that are around you, but you can always change the people you are around. Think about that. Because the people you're around will affect your belief system, okay? Change becomes permanent once you change your belief system. So the reason why people default and go back to the way they were was because they never really changed their core belief system. They changed their life, they changed their patterns, and they changed temporarily. But what happened was they defaulted back to what? It will always lead you back home to what you really believe. Your belief system. And if you don't change that, if you don't work at the core of your belief system, you'll spend your time joining a gym, starting a new program, and ending that because you're going to default right back to what you believe about yourself, what you believe about the world, what you believe about life. So here's a couple of things we need to do. First thing is to do something new. Do something new, which is I'll watch this podcast secretly, but I'll never visit it. Well, visit. If you would watch it secretly, come out and support it publicly. You understand what I'm saying? Do something new. Go in a new direction. Do something new. Here's another thing. Doing something new, it actually initiates the change of your belief system. So when you actually do something new, this doesn't change your belief system. It just initiates change. Are you with me? Seeing the results of change fuels your belief system. So once you see that you've changed and you start to see the results of change, this fuels your belief system. So that means like, all right, you joined a gym. And no one knows you joined the gym, but then they say, you look like you lost weight. And you're like, oh, wow. Or you joined the gym and you've been lifting weights. You're like, man, you look buff. You're like, oh, really? And so seeing the results of your change, it fuels your belief system. That means keep going. So remember, your belief system is bulletproofed. So much and so that you will have a difficult time penetrating it. Okay? So when you understand do something new, when you understand that doing something new will begin to initiate change in you, and then you understand that seeing that change results in fueling your belief system, the next thing you look at is that what you believe propels you into a greater action. So that means that once I believe like, okay, wait a minute, there are results happening, it will propel me into greater action, which means guess what? I'm gonna up the weights. Man, somebody sees the results of me lifting at the gym. Somebody sees that I'm losing weight. I'm going to up it. You actually need to now create a greater action. So that means you don't continue to approach change in a passive way, but you actually apply greater action to change, like you just full steam ahead. I'm going to get more aggressive with this. And this is what will begin to change the core of your belief system. And then here's the thing, with great action, you must have resolve. So when you create this greater action, you must resolve it in your mind and realize this is the new me. Resolve works this way, that once it's done inside my belief system, I believe it'll be done outside of me, which means this is resolve. That means that I believe that once I believe it internally within me, then outside of me, it will automatically produce itself, right? And this is when Jesus talks about, if you ask anything in prayer, if you believe that you have received it, it will be yours. That's exactly what he said, right? He says, therefore I tell you that whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it is yours. What is that? What is that? That's resolve. That means that I'm seeing this change. I'm seeing what's happened. And so now I believe that this is the new me. I'm about to be buff. I'm about to be, I'm about to lose weight. I'm about to change who I am. And so this is the thing that I want you to kind of look at if you're trying to work on changing the core belief system. And we want to go a little bit deeper into this. I want to go a little bit deeper this way. So as you look at the belief system and realize that it's really controlling your life and leading you back home every morning, here's the other thing that you have to realize. Because all three of these points are really tied in. They're stacked on each other and they're tied in. The next point is really changing your habitual emotions. And changing your habitual emotions means that you allow your emotions to get the best of you. You fly off the handle, or you get upset. People can tell you, man, you need some anger management, man. Like you lose it. Like you get so heated, and so we let our emotions, or you get so sad. Somebody said something to you. Next thing you know, you're crying over it. And you're getting so sad, so down, or somebody suggested something to you, and you take it the wrong way. Let's look at the science behind the emotions really quick. And I'll talk about this a little bit. The structure in which we see the world is always built through a narrative. It's always built through a story. Everybody has a story. I have a story about you. You have a story about me. And everything that we look at in life is built on a narrative. It's based on a story. It's based on the narrative and the story that we're building. I'll talk about an example in terms of movies. The way in which movies work. The reason why movies can grip us emotionally is because in a movie, they can give you an insight into the goals of the main character. And when they give you an insight of the goals of the main character, you can actually align your goals with their goals. And you can actually begin to feel what they feel. And you can actually begin to understand them. And this is interesting because you have an ability to adopt their entire story. So if someone's telling you a story, and if you adopt that story that they're telling you, you can mirror your nervous system with their nervous system. This is why movies are so powerful and why we love movies, because they make us feel. But what is actually happening behind the science of it is that when we align ourselves and we have submitted to the goal of the main character and we align ourselves with the main character, we can now mirror the nervous system in that character. And when they begin to cry, you'll begin to cry. And when they become emotional, you'll become emotional. And so this is the power of movies, but this is also what you're doing with everybody in your life. If anybody is telling you a story or any kind of story, what you're doing is if you adopt that story that they're telling you, you'll begin to mimic automatically. It happens automatically. You'll begin to automatically just mirror that person's nervous system, right? And so that's why the Bible says stuff like this. Keep your eyes straight before you, or guard your heart, because out of it are the issues of life. This is why it says this. Guard your heart, because out of it are the issues of life, because it realizes that, guess what? Your nervous system is going to be pulled in one direction or another direction based on your ability to guard your heart, right? So emotional health is really linked to association. A lot of people watch a lot of CSI and they wonder why they're anxious. That's why. It's what you put on your television. But it's not just what you put on your television. It's who you allow to speak in your ear. It's what narratives and what stories are you listening to, right? So you can actually get to this place where you're able to sort of control a little bit more of your emotions. And I'll say it this way because Jesus said it this way. He says, take my yoke upon you. He says, and learn from me. Why? Because emotional health is linked to association. If you begin to read the words of the Messiah and trust those words and you believe those words, you'll understand that what he's saying is, take my yoke upon you, learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burdens are light. This is based on, he's saying, associate yourself with me. Draw closer to me, okay? So emotional health is linked to that. And as we understand that, I want to point out a couple of things as well. I'll give you a couple of examples. Take a person who is always saying negative things, or someone who always seems to be judging others, or someone who deals with daily complaints or gossiping. Think about that. A person that is always this is all based on their emotional health. Remember, it also ties into belief system because you're going to navigate yourself back home. And if you don't change the core of that, you'll be like, oh my gosh, why do I keep doing it? Because you haven't changed your belief system. So we're talking about the emotional health now, right? And there are people that they always are talking negative. They're always speaking negative things. You know, there's a war about to happen. You know, they want to tell you everything negative. You know, so-and-so got shot down the street. And, you know, it's just always negative. They're just like dialed into the negativity of life. Dialed into it. But then they're also judging other people. I can't believe they did that. What about what you've done? Right? Here's what I've heard. I've heard this. Stop attacking the evil that is in other people and start attacking the evil that is in you. Right? Stop attacking the evil that is in other people and start attacking the evil that's in you. This will give you peace in itself, right? It's what Jesus said, right? First, remove the beam out of your own eye and you'll see clearly to remove the speck out of someone else. Worry about yourself. Like really worry about what's going on in me and what's going on in my mind. What am I? And so remember this right here. Remember that you have a need to stay consistent with how you define yourself. You're not going to do anything outside of the way you define you. Listen to that. That's very powerful. You will not do anything outside of the way that you define you. The reason why you're here is because this is how you define yourself. If you didn't define yourself along in this area, then you wouldn't even be here. You wouldn't be watching a podcast, anything like that. You understand that? You're always going to stay consistent. The problem is that a lot of times we hide our true self from other people, which will never let other people know that we are associated with something. You understand that? Here's the thing. People are creatures of habit, okay? People are creatures of habit. So you understand when you're dealing with the emotions that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. What that's really saying is the ones who love death are literally speaking negative things. They're literally complaining and gossiping. So once again, this is all belief system. You could have inherited the majority of your belief system from your parents. You really could have, right? Or you could inherit it from your job. You get on your job, and this is how everybody feels on the job. Everybody feels this way on the job. Like, we hate the job. We got to work this day. Like, you can inherit your belief system from different associations, different places that you're around. But when you look at this, here's what I want you to understand is that emotion is created based on the movement of thought. Your emotions are created based on the movement of thought. And as your thoughts move, it produces action in your life. Your emotion is coming from a movement of thought. Someone bumped into you. Now, what is your movement of thought? What thoughts start moving through your mind? You start saying, I can't believe he bumped into me. Who does he think he is? Does he know who I am? And the next thing you know, you find yourself popping off verbally. Hey, man, what are you doing? Watch where you're going, man. I'm walking over here. And so emotions are created based on movement of thought. It's how you move your thoughts around in your mind. And as you begin to move your mind, move the thoughts around in your mind, it will create an action in you. And so you want to be free from anxiety, but your emotional habit is to be anxious. Think about it. You want to be free from anxiety, but your emotional habit is to be anxious. You have to change your emotional habits. You can't get free from anxiety when your emotional habit is to be anxious. So you have to change something there. You have to do something a little different. You have to understand this as well, that you can actually manifest. Listen, I know this is wild, but you can actually manifest the emotion that you desire. The Bible says this. He says, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. Jesus also said, don't be anxious. So it is not God's mind that you be anxious about life and about things. So here's the key to that. It's controlling your focus. The way you are not so anxious about things is that you control your focus. What are you focused on, right? Because whatever you focus on, you will see. So if I just asked, did a little experiment in here, and I said, I want you to focus on everybody in this room that's wearing blue. Everybody in this room, just look around the room really quick. Everybody who's wearing blue, right? Focus on everybody who's wearing blue. Now close your eyes, right? Close your eyes. And then can you tell me everybody in the room that was wearing red? You see? You can't do it because you focused on everybody who was wearing blue. But now if you open your eyes and you look around the room and you focus on everybody who's wearing red, you look around, who's got red on, right? You look around, now you see people who are wearing red. And what I'm telling you is that you're going to be able to see whatever you focus on, whether it is real or not. Whether it is real or not, when you focus on it, you'll see it. What does the Bible say? It says that if you seek, you shall what? Find. And this is true. It says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. So this is a real concept with life, that we will find what we seek after, what we look after. So a couple of things that I'll go into is what you want to do if you're trying to change your emotional health is that you want to control your focus. The way you do that is once you find that you're anxious, once you find that your focus is off, once you find that you're depressed and you just don't feel good in the moment, here's what you do. I don't feel good in the moment, so you do these three things. The first thing you do is you think about one thing that makes you happy. Just in that moment, think about one thing that makes you happy. The second thing is think about one thing that you're grateful for. One thing that you're grateful for. And then the third thing is to think about one thing that you're looking forward to. As you began to do this, you began to cycle thoughts. You began to move your thoughts in your mind, which begins to create a type of different chemistry in your body and emotion in your body. So it's called forward thinking, right? Forward thinking creates positive momentum in your mind, right? The key to focus begins with questions. It's the questions that you're asking yourself. That's what you focus on. So you might say, why can't you lose weight? Well, that's the wrong question. Because if you ask, why can't I lose weight? Then the answer that you might get back is because you're fat and you're lazy. But if you ask, how can I lose weight? You might get a different question, an answer back. How can I lose weight? Well, you could start ketogenic diet. You could start walking every day. You understand that when you ask these kind of defeating questions about yourself, you get defeating answers about yourself. So you have to learn to ask different questions. Here's another thing. I was told scientifically there's 80 muscles in the face. Scientifically, there are 80 muscles in the face, but it's the use. It's the use of the face. So even though we have 80 muscles in the face, we use the face the same, which means that you're happy, but you didn't tell your face. You're joyful, but your face doesn't know it. So even just smiling begins to change the emotion of the heart, just to smile on the outside. Even when you're depressed. If you're depressed, it's funny, it feels kind of weird. If you're depressed on the outside and you just go, it just starts to change. It feels awkward. It's like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? And you start to change your disposition. So, and here's the key. Be deliberate. Be deliberate. Be deliberate. I'm going to leave you with these three things, okay? If you want to begin to feel emotionally and just better about just who you are and build sort of the self-value, create the self-value in you, I will actually tell you to do three things. Be on time. Time management is key. Be a person that is consistent with time and being on time. This will actually help you build self-value within yourself. Number two is be reliable. Be reliable. Be reliable. A lot of people are not reliable. They're not consistent. They show up one time, they don't show up another time, or they're with you one day, they're not with you the next day. They're always full of excuses. There's always an excuse, right? But that's the thing. Be reliable. And number three is also be a critical thinker. Have resourcefulness in you, right? Be a critical thinker. Be a critical thinker. Be someone who can solve issues and can think outside of the box. Don't be someone who's just on the team that's just not using your mind. Not using your mind. All right? So that's all we got today. And I hope you enjoyed it. And see you guys next week. You guys take it away.
Thank you for being a part of our YouTube channel.
When you subscribe to this channel, it helps us spread a positive message around the world. Contemporary Speaks is an affiliate of Contemporary Church, and I want to take a moment to thank you for your generosity in all you do and supporting us with your donations and your gifts. It helps us keep going strong. And if what we do has impacted you in a positive way, please let us know in the comments below and share this channel with a friend. We hope to keep you encouraged each week with a new mindful topic.